I'm Leslie with Laura's Lemon Light, if you have never been to my channel before. We discuss all kinds of different things to deal with our current situation of ascension, and also about humanity and love and calmness and all of the good things. So I'm here today with my friend Larry. He's going to be my first interview on my YouTube channel. He and I met at a tattoo shop of all places, and he's an amazing person. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So Larry, say hi, Larry.
Hi.
You have an amazing page called Mental Illness, right?
Yeah.
Mental Illness, we're all crazy here.
Yeah.
What inspired you to create this page?
It started with my son, because my son has some severe mental health issues, and my wife and I were very lucky to be very open with him, have him be open with us, because he was just able to come and talk to us. Had we not been there, had we not had that door open for him to come talk to us, he probably would have committed suicide. And it's really frustrating because there's no help for people with mental illness. We don't address the mental illness issue. We are starting to now, but we're scared of mental illness. We are scared of people who have mental illness. And if I explained to my son, I said, mental illness is like having diabetes. Mental illness is like having a thyroid problem. Mental illness is just something you need to address, and sometimes you have to take medicine to help you with that, to help you live a healthier life. And so I created it for him. And I have severe anxiety where I've been married for 27 years, and it took, my wife's family lives in Washington, and it took me 10 years of marriage before I would go down and visit them, because the traveling terrified me. And the only reason I went down is because we had a house fire, and they were amazing and supported us through the whole entire thing, so I felt obligated to go down, which was great, because now I love traveling.
Good.
So
it's the conquering of a fear.
it was.
It feels good to do that. I've been doing that for a couple of years. My fear of heights, my fear of change, my fear of acceptance, and things like that.
We have a habit of not recognizing those things that scare us. We don't understand. People tend to not understand why they feel that way. When I first moved, I work for the school system. When I first moved from one school to another, change is a big one for me. I am terrified of change. And I remember telling Susan, I gotta go to the doctor because I'm flipping out. I don't know what's going on. And Susan's like, well, you just changed schools and you're terrified. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
that's right.
Thank you for bringing that up.
And it's amazing, because if you stop and analyze it and think about it, once you understand why you're feeling that way, then it doesn't make it go away, obviously, but it's going to make it easier
to process
and deal with, and to know. And that's where meditation comes in and really helps us focus.
It does. Yes, it does. So the page has blown up.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit of.
You have an amazing amount of followers, and I see on there all the time the people that are constantly thanking you, and they have a place to feel connected. They don't feel so isolated, I feel like. Well,
and I my original goal for the page was to open a dialogue, and it's basically turned into a meme page for mental health, which I'm okay with, because like I said, it spreads.
There's so many discussions though. Like each meme has its own set of discussion with people from all over.
Yeah.
So even though it's considered a meme page, there's still that open line of communication, that discussion.
Yes, and it's again, it's not just the page itself. It's just trying to get people to understand that mental health it's a real thing, and the biggest thing that frustrates me is how terrified we are of people with mental health issues. An example I like to use is if you and I work together at the post office, I'll just say the post office, and you come up to me and you're like, man, I don't feel good. I've been sick for like a month. I might say, well, have you been to the doctor? No. And then if you went to the doctor, I would follow up and say, are you okay with the doctor say? Now, let's say you come up to me and said, man, I don't feel good mentally. I feel like, I don't know, I'm very angry. I just want to hurt somebody. If we were a good enough friend that you were telling me that, I wouldn't follow up with you. I would report it to my manager and say, Leslie told me this, and it's kind of scary. So this is what we have, instead of addressing the issue of why you're feeling that way, now I put myself in a position to be scared of you.
Right.
But if I was to take my time and follow up with you and say, let's, have you been to the doctor? Let me help you where I can, let me just give you an ear to talk, do something like that, then you're following up with that person, and that's where the separation happens. If you're sick, I'm gonna follow up with you for friends and you know, want to help you, but if you're sick with a mental illness, it's gonna be different, and I'm gonna be scared of it.
Right.
And people will tell you, I'm not scared of it, I understand, and we do, but we still don't accept it.
Right. It's still scary.
It's
Scary for
it's
people.
very, very scary. for
What you
people.
don't understand, you fear.
Right, and so if anything, somebody that is displaying mental health issues doesn't necessarily mean they're mentally sick or anything like that. It just means they, you know, we have an obligation, I believe, at this point in our history to come up to them and say, are you okay? You know, and just show kindness and show caring and just
That's it.
be a friend.
Show kindness and caring. That's
Yeah,
it right there.
yeah.
So, trying to think.
Well,
Where do you see, on your journey right now, where do you see yourself progressing to in your own growth?
I don't. When we decided it'd be okay for me to teach this class, I did it because I need the help as much as I want to help other people. Because as we were talking earlier, the last couple of years, I stepped off this really good path that I was on, and I become really, really angry. And I was angry over the direction I see that our world is going in. And at times I absolutely wish that I could be as unaware, and I'm not, this isn't an insult, as some people are that just seem to be able to go on with their lives. But I see, you know, the school shootings, I see climate change, I see all this stuff in the world that needs to be addressed, and I'm absolutely devastated by it. But on the flip side, I've come to the realization that there's nothing that I can do to change it. I can affect my little area, and that's it, that's all I can do. And so I'm trying to get back on my path, and hopefully, we're going all the way around to this question that you asked,
No?
that I can stay on this path and help other people understand that you know, meditation isn't about spreading kindness to the world. That should be a side effect. That should be a side effect. But meditation should be to make yourself better and help you understand I call it our area, our family, our friends.
Right, our circles.
Our circles. And so if we can show kindness to them, then ultimately the goal would be that they'd be like, wow, I really want to be like that.
It's the ripple effect.
Yes.
Yes, I totally agree. So you asked me why I was going to allow you to come into this space and teach this class. And the reason why is because we are all on the same path. We're just on the same path in different movements. Some of us are ahead, some of us are behind. And in order to help others continue on their path, you have to help others. So I feel like you coming into this space is going to help others that are either behind you or in front of you. It's going to create that community, that line of continued knowledge. You're not only helping yourself, but you help your community, and then people leave our community and they help those people around them, and it is the most amazing ripple effect, which eventually helps the entire collective. Well, so even though you're not probably set out to help anyone in particular, and you want to help yourself, you're eventually going to help others.
Well, and that would be nice if I could do that, but again, it's, you know, I one thing I live by is and I've learned is change spurs growth. Change spurs growth in every aspect of growth, whether it's negative change or positive change. It all depends on how we decide that we want to learn from that.
Right.
Susan and I have the saying that we would say when we're looking for something, and like if you're going to look for a car and the salesman's like, you know, well, this is a great deal, and they're under pressure, we've learned that there's always another deal around the corner. There's always going to be another deal. So when something happens in your life and it brings you down, there's always going to be another opportunity to get out of it. Right. There's always going to be another opportunity to learn. It's not the end. You know, you may have to wait a little bit. You may have to suffer through some depression or some anger. But if you understand that that's not the way it's going to remain, then you will not remain that way.
Right.
But if you do, then you're gonna buy a car you didn't want, and you're gonna spend a lot of money on a car. Does that make sense?
Yes, I totally understand. That's with us being energy. I believe that we are energy, and our energy never dies. We continuously keep moving. We're just given this lifetime and this body, and then the next lifetime and the next body. Like, we are here experiencing life as humans, but we're so much more. And that is exactly it. Like, we are experiencing and learning on this plane at this moment in time. But we're also going to move forward, and we're going to learn more in the next experience. So you have to take every good with the bad, because everything has a learning. Everything has a lesson. But you have to be able to recognize it. You have to be able to recognize it.
That's funny, because that's exactly I've been saying probably for the past few months, and it's something I've realized. And I actually tell people, I'm like, the universe will teach you lessons if you let it. Mm-hmm. And it can be from anything. I think people expect this miraculous awakening or something, but it's not. It's something that makes you go, huh, maybe I should have realized that later. It can be from any aspect of life, any aspect of, from a movie to, I'm reading a book right now by Dean Koontz, and Dean Koontz is Dean Koontz, but
right.
When I first started reading the book, there's a passage in there, and I can't recall it right now, but I was just like, yeah, I need to know that. I need to remember that, because it was just an amazing way to start the story, but it applied to life so perfectly. And so once you become aware of stuff like that, and you try to look at that, and you want to do better. Right. And I need to say, it's okay when people try to meditate, or when they want to learn to be kinder people. Trying to be kind isn't about always being kind. It's okay to be mad.
Right.
It's okay to be angry. If you're stuck behind somebody that's slow and you're in a hurry, it's okay to be like, oh, I wish they'd hurry up. What's not okay is if you're gonna,
yell at them,
or I always say, live life how you want to live, and do what you want to do, as long as it doesn't cause harm to somebody else.
Right.
I mean, who cares about anything else? So we have, it's easy for me to preach this, and it's a struggle for me to live this. I want to make sure people understand I am not perfect in this at all.
Nobody is.
I am the biggest judgmental jerk I know. I can see somebody without knowing them, and I attribute this to being sometimes I think I'm an empath, and I attribute it to being that, where I'll walk in to somewhere and I'll just pick up that energy. I'm like, oh my God, you're such a jerk, and I just want to be like, okay, that's not the way it is,
And then you talk to them, and then they're rude, and you're like, nope, yep, you're a jerk.
Yeah. Well, and I was listening to, it's funny you said, I was listening to a Buddhist teaching the other day, and one thing he was telling us about is, when we meet somebody, and we always make that determination within the first 30 seconds of meeting them, whether, and that's our natural instinct, saying we got to make sure this person is safe and
right.
trustworthy. But so if I meet you and you're kind of having a bad day and you're kind of rude, and then we meet again and you're not like that second time, I'm not going, oh, she's really nice. I'm going, no. Our brains, and if you look at monkey brains, this will tell you, this is part of that,
yep.
are telling us that's not how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be mean. Why are you being nice now? You were mean the last time. So we try to justify that. Well, now she's still mean, but she's just trying to be nice, because we're going to justify why you're being nice, but it's not going to be for the right reasons.
Right.
So we don't take into consideration that
we're emotional human beings.
Yes, and maybe you were having a bad day, or maybe, so everybody needs that second chance,
Right.
So if you're stuck behind somebody in traffic and they're going slow, maybe they're going slow for a reason that we're unaware of.
Right. I believe that there's really no concept of time, that it's just movement. We just have a lot of movement. And so at the grocery store or the convenience store, if I'm late, and I'm always late, I'll admit to that, I'm always late. And somebody's in front of me and they're moving so slow, and I'm in such a hurry to get where I need to go, I literally will stop and tell myself, they are just moving slower than I am today. And there are times when I'm moving slower, and there are times when they're moving faster. And every time I do that, I'll get back in the car, and literally it's like the clock has stopped, and I'm no longer late, or it wasn't as long as I thought it was. It's a weird experience, but it happens every single time. It's like I actually have to just stop and put myself in that. They're just moving slower. Like, there's a reason why she's moving slower. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe there's a reason I need to be in this space right now. Maybe a mile down the road there's a car wreck that I missed that I could have been in. Everything happens for a reason. So.
And that's interesting. And once we understand that, and I use a lot of I relate when I'm trying to get something across, I relate it to things that everybody knows about. And like right now I'm on my, you know, somebody's going slow in front of you. It's like, when I'm riding my motorcycle, and I used to ride with a lot of people, I don't ride with a lot of people anymore. And I'm not trying to make people who ride angry, but when you're riding with people and you're riding a motorcycle and somebody cuts you off, the person on the motorcycle feels all justified in being angry at the person that cut them off. And they say, you know, they really get angry. That could have been my life. You need to watch out, blah, blah, blah. But we're all guilty. I've cut people in my car off that were riding motorcycles. I've cut a motorcycle off riding my motorcycle. These are things that everybody does. So we shouldn't be justified, or we should understand that when somebody cuts us off, it's maybe they weren't paying attention, but it's the same reason that we cut somebody off, because we weren't paying attention.
Right.
It's you know, once you get in your mindset that you are a perfect driver and everybody else is a bad driver, then that's where the danger happens. And I, like I said, related to this, it's the same thing as saying, you know, once I decide that I meditate, so I'm really good at my meditation and I'm really at peace and I got a great understanding, then that's where the danger happens.
Right.
We need to understand that, you know,
We're not perfect.
we're not perfect, and
We're
going
human.
we're gonna get angry, and we're gonna do the exact same things that we get angry at, that we're gonna make people angry for the same reason that they make us angry.
Right.